17.6 veterans die by suicide every single day. That's almost 1 per hour. And we want to do our part that number significantly goes to 0. This fall, October 24th, we are running a 5K in Bluffdale, Utah, and we are co-partnering with a really awesome running store, and it is called Second Wind Running Company, which aligns so well with what we're doing, of having the second win or second chance.
We can talk more about kind of what the second win means, second chance, getting stronger when everyone else expects you to get weaker. I think that's like one of the things that's special about running, but it also transcends running.
This race is more than just a 5K. It is supporting every veteran that has felt that they didn't have a home or they didn't have a space to live in after they've served. Welcome to the Healthcare Revolution podcast. Today we are doing something a little different than what we typically do on this podcast. We are talking about something near and dear to my heart, and that is we are running creating a community 5K race titled No Veteran Left Behind. And a lot of this comes from our social mission of supporting veterans and making sure no veteran gets left behind. And this fall, October 24th, we are running a 5K in Bluffdale, Utah, and we are co-partnering with a really awesome running store, which I'll introduce here in a minute. But this race is more than just a 5K. It is supporting every veteran that has felt that they didn't have a home or they didn't have a space to live in after they've served. I had a friend that lost his life to this very topic, and that's why we started this social mission. Every Friday, we wear our social mission t-shirts, and we talk about veteran suicide, and we make popcorn, and we make it part of the Foundation Physical Therapy experience. Because every single year, every single day in the United States, 17 people die by suicide, veterans. 17.6 veterans die by suicide every single day. That's almost 1 per hour. And we want to do our part that number significantly goes to 0. We don't want one veteran feeling left behind. We want to make sure every veteran feels like they have a home and they have resources and they have people that love them. And that is the mission behind this 5K race, is to be able to have every veteran feel at home. And so excited to have this topic. And by the way, that data comes from the VA 2024 National Veteran Suicide Prevention website. So it's their annual report. It is a real thing, and it's very sad that it happens, and we want to make sure it doesn't happen anymore. So by the end of this podcast, you're going to know about the race. You're going to know about our co-sponsors. You're going to know how to sign up. You're going to know how to donate to the cause. All of the proceeds are going to go to the Wounded Warrior Project, who we partner with as a corporate partner. And we love the work that they do, the resources that they provide, the services that they provide for these veterans. It really makes a difference. But we're really hoping to bring the community together to serve these veterans and to make sure no one gets left behind. So let me introduce our co-sponsors. So our co-sponsor is named Chris. He owns a running store in Riverton.
In Riverton, yeah.
And we're running this race in Bluffdale. And Chris has been a runner his whole life through high school.
Yeah.
And he comes in slippers, so you know he's a runner. And he doesn't mess around. He identifies himself as a runner, and we'll talk about what that means. But super excited to have him on. He just bought a running store, and it is called Second Wind Running Company, which aligns so well with what we're doing, of having the second win or second chance. A lot of these vets go out and serve, then it almost seems like they're one life. And then they come home, and it's a completely different life based on the veterans that I've talked to and the ones I've served. And it's kind of the second wind, the second chance, this starting over. And we really loved their mission, and we reached out to them, and they just said absolutely. So, Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Tell me about what started the name Second Wind.
It's a great question. And, you know, when I was thinking about buying the shop, I talked to a lot of running store owners around the country, and successful ones who have built good businesses. And like 9 out of 10 of them told me, I wish I didn't have the word running so prominent in my name and in my brand, because there's a lot of people that run 15, 20 miles a week or some whatever, more than that don't identify as runners. They go into a running shop and they feel intimidated. And so I wanted a name that was like immediately legible to runners. And we can talk more about kind of what the second wind means, but that also has this broader connotation of a second, kind of a second chance, getting stronger when everyone else expects you to get weaker. I think that's like one of the things that's special about running, but that also transcends running. I wanted that to be the heartbeat of the brand. And I also wanted to kind of tap into this idea of strength and longevity and recovery, because everybody gets hurt. And when you get hurt, you got to get healthy and get back on the horse. And I thought Second Wind encapsulated all that.
I love the running aspect, especially for veterans, because we talked about this earlier, but running really has something special as far as healing.
100%.
Right? A lot of these vets have experienced very traumatic things, and they need peace. They need healing.
Yeah.
Tell me about what running has done for you and what you've seen it do for others as far as this healing we're talking about.
Well, I always say, like, every runner, you're running from demons and you're running towards angels, and it just depends on the day. But everyone is kind of running from something, and running is a way to kind of heal from those things in your life that you need to get over. And some days that's what it's about, and some days, like, you get that endorphin and that, like, runner's high, and you're on cloud 9, and it just kind of depends on the day. And that's what I love about the sport. It has this yin yang, both and thing where you're fighting and you're going through pain, and that helps you kind of overcome pain you've had in your past. And but then you're also sometimes totally transcending it, and you're like, whatever, 10, 11 miles into a run, and you feel like you could go forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that the duality of the sport for that.
It's really interesting you say that. I just got into my running journey. Never thought I'd be a runner. Now identify as a runner. And I just ran my half marathon, and I had this goal of running at a certain time, and I beat the goal by like a minute. I was so stoked. But what's interesting about running, I was running this morning, I was thinking about, like, what is so healing about the running experience? And for me, there's different types of runners. There's the runners that are social, right? It's like you get together with a group of friends or a group of people, and it's a very social thing. And that can be very healing because you're bringing people together and not feeling isolated, right? For me, I like running in peace and not talking to anyone else. And that's just how I like to run. But I'm alone with myself.
Yep.
And I'm alone with my thoughts, and I process things, and I think about my day, and I think about things that I typically wouldn't think about, right? And you're going through this struggle with your body, telling your body you can do it, and your body's telling you can't, right?
Yep.
And then you go through these phases, you're like, I can run forever. And then you go through these phases, you're like, you run 1 mile, and you're like, I'm dying. Right. Yeah. And it's different every day. And it's running's such an interesting thing for me because I never feel the same.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
And then I run this half marathon. I'm like, I could run a full marathon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just like keeps expanding your mindset to there's literally limitless potential. The only limit in life is your ability to train well, eat well, sleep well. Like just your discipline in that aspect, but more importantly, just the way you think.
Yeah.
If you think you can't do it, you most likely can't. If you think you can do it, you definitely can.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah. It's definitely taught me a lot of lessons about just kind of like whatever. I know it's a little bit of a cliche, but like the art of the possible. It's like, most people when they start, training for their first race of a long distance, they're really kind of not sure they can do it at the start. That's how I was. And then you do it. And then you just say, okay, if I did that, I can go higher, right? And it's like climbing a ladder, and you just go, rung by rung. And because it's so simple, you can trust it. It's just, this day I ran X number of miles. The next day I'm going to run X plus 2. And you just go and you can track it. You can track your mileage. You can track your times, and it's just totally clear. And you can look back and say, okay, I did this in one domain of my life in running. Why don't I just take that to the next one? And you take that mindset, and it expands what you can do in other parts of your life. That's certainly been true for me.
Yeah, it really empowers you and gives you much more confidence because you've accomplished something hard.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, if I can go to a half marathon, what else can I do?
Yeah.
Right? You just feel like a champion. You feel like you're on Rocky.
Yeah.
And I had Tiger
exactly
at the top of the hill.
And if we're talking about running and veterans, like you know the story where the word marathon comes from?
Mm-mm.
You don't know the backdrop?
I don't.
So it's a war story. So it's called a marathon because, like, in ancient Greece, there was like a battle going on in a town that's called Marathon.
Oh, I do know the story. I just don't know the name Marathon.
And a guy had to run from Marathon to Athens to get the message. It was pre-technology.
Marathon
and
to Athens.
So that's the original 26.2.
That's why they called it Marathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's, the first marathon is really a war story.
Yeah, that's so cool. Why was it so impactful, do you think?
I don't know. I actually don't know the history. I don't think people have been running 26.2 miles, continuously as sport since that day.
Yeah.
I don't know kind of what happened along the way. I just know that's where the inspiration for the 26.2 miles and the distance comes from.
Yeah. So, man, I love the what it can do for people. So really two purposes what we hope with this 5K. One is that you don't feel alone, whether you're a veteran or not. Two, that you come and support a veteran. So I guess there's three. And three, that you feel camaraderie with your community. I think if we accomplish those things, and we're going to raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project and give back. That is a big goal. We have a $5,000 goal of what we're striving to raise for this. I have no question that we'll get 250 people there.
Yeah.
My hope is we double that.
Let's do
it. Let's get 500 people there. I think that is very doable. If you just think about our statistic of 17 people dying by suicide every single day, that just makes me sick. And we can do so much better. And these veterans just need arms around them. They need people knowing that we see them, that we hear them, that they're supported. And this race is really about that. So excited to be able to launch this in October. Tell us about what people should expect and as they come to the race. What's the energy like? What are things looking like in your mind right now as we've talked?
Race day is always super fun. Whether it's your 100th or your first, there's always just awesome energy, and you always see. At 5Ks, it's almost all smiles across the finish line. And so I would say, if you've never done one, really think about it. You can do it. Even if you don't think you can, if you just kind of get out there and run a little bit and give yourself enough leeway, you will get there. And it's a great experience to do that. And it's really not like you versus the field. It's not going to feel super competitive. It's going to feel much more like a big community event. And you'll have people cheering you on. There will be sponsors giving stuff away at the finish line. And it's just going to be a really feel good day. And I think it's always fun to be in the crowd. And honestly, sometimes if you've done it a bunch of times, it's more fun to be in the crowd watching someone you love do it the first time. But if you've never done one of these things, I think it would be awesome to just get a lot of first-time runners there, because
I hope so too.
It's an amazing thing to experience. And going back to where we started, it's like once you do this once, you might get the bug, and the bug might make you much more powerful in other parts of your life.
Yeah, we really want to push. If you want to ride it, come ride a tricycle, come ride a bike.
Yeah.
Bring your kids. We have a kid portion. If you've never ran before, that's okay too. Come walk it.
Yeah,
you know,
tons of people will be walking it.
Yeah, that's really what we're shooting for, is to get as many people as possible at this event, and really support our vets that have done so much for us. Because it's not just runners we want there; we want everyone there. Bring the community together to really make a difference.
Yeah. And yeah, I look at the race calendar because I'm in the running business, and like, man, it's hard to think of a race with a better cause for the second half of 26 than this one.
Absolutely. And if you've been to the Bluffdale City Park, you know that there's a veteran memorial there. So we're not certain on if it's going to be the starting line or the finish line, but that veteran memorial will be an important part of this race as well. It's a nice gathering point, and it's going to be an awesome race. So we hope you sign up and come out and bring your friends and family. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the people that have never ran before. What tips we can give them that just like, oh, I want to come support this cause, and I'm all about the cause, supporting our veterans. Come race for a veteran, right? They're feeling it in their heart.
Yeah.
Like what tips do we have for the people that have really never ran before, but they're just feeling it in their heart that they should get out there and try it for the first time?
I would say first, make sure you have a good pair of shoes.
And talk to us about gear. Why is gear important?
Yeah, just everyone, every single foot and stride is unique, and you want to make sure you get something that works for you, especially if you want to be, doing this for a while. Like the best way to make continuous progress is just to stay healthy and make sure you're there, and you don't want your gear to be an impediment to that. From being in a running shop, you see tons of people come in and say, I had these shoes and my feet hurt now, and so here I am, and I need to start from scratch. And
don't make the mistake of getting your shoes right before the race.
Yeah, don't do that. And I would say,
how much time should people plan on training in those shoes before race day?
Several weeks, and you're probably okay. And if you've run a lot and run in different brands, it probably matters less. But if you're just starting out, you have all these things that you're going to be nervous about, and you don't want your gear to be one of them, I would say. So just kind of make sure you get a good pair of shoes. Make sure you try on multiple pairs before you pick the one, to make sure you're confident that it's right, and then you can just kind of focus on running. So I would say that.
Well, let's talk about different clothing, because who knows what October is in Utah.
Yeah.
It could be snowing. It could be
it's always a wild
really
card
hot,
Yeah.
Talk to us about the two extremes. Like, say, for instance, maybe not snowing, but say it's really cold. What kind of gear do you recommend for a cold day? And then what kind of gear do you recommend for a warm day? This is at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
Is our start. So what would you recommend?
So for a cold day, I would, just kind of good, like thermo running apparel is good. There's so many different running brands out there that make good apparel.
What's your go-to? What's the ones you carry in your store?
I run a lot in On's apparel. I really like their stuff. But Brooks, Mizuno, Nike, they all make pretty good apparel. And then there's some apparel specific companies like Rabbit is getting more popular. And so there's plenty of options out there. I would not recommend running in like a big ski parka. It's not like you're going to be, if it's 35 degrees, you are going to be running. You're not going to be standing in the cold.
Something that's breathable.
So you need different clothes than you would if you were a spectator at the race.
Tell me about pants. Very similar too.
Yeah.
Breathable, athletic pants.
Yeah, and if you can wear a hat too. Get like a running hat if it's cold. Some people like that. A lot of heat leaves through your head.
And I know you purchased the running store. It was called Run Great.
It's called
and
Run
now
Great.
It's Second Wind, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're rebranding as. We're in mid-July now. We're hoping to have a grand reopening party where we really unveil ourselves to the world. Like physically as Second Wind Run Co. But we need a new sign up on the outside of our store, and we're working through our interior store refresh. And so we're still operating as Run Great for the next call it 4 to 6 weeks. But by the time we are all together crossing the finish line in Bluffdale, we will have been second wind for a while.
I love it.
So kind of, probably around Labor Day, we'll have that transition. And I've already rebuilt the whole website. So kind of, and on,
so already
on
online it's
Instagram
changed.
and all of our social is all changed.
Yeah, so be sure to follow them at Running Great, or no, not Running Great.
Second Wind
Running Co.
On
they have
Instagram. And yeah, we'll have our kind of reimagined store within a few weeks, and we're gonna have.
What recommendations do you have for watching the weather close up? Like, what do you do before a race? Like, are you the night before looking at the weather, kind of prepping?
I don't stress out about it like weeks ahead. You can't with the weather. I don't even stress out about it like a week ahead. I'll look at it the day before, maybe 2 days, and I'm looking for weather and wind. Not so much for wind chill, just like if it's windy, you're going to go slower. And so if you're trying to run a fast time, that's something I look for.
Sure. And tell us about hot. What's your recommendation for hot weather?
Man, I mean, I grew up in New England where the summers are super humid and muggy, and so dry heat seems easy to me. Like, I don't mind running in the Utah summers, especially early in the morning. It's like it's actually you don't get a bad day out here as long as you get after it early. And so I'm not too worried about the heat. You can just kind of go shorts and a t-shirt, or a tank top and a t-shirt.
Yeah, nothing complex. So really, just the most important thing is your shoes, your shoe wear,
and socks. I would say
socks.
don't get don't get Costco socks. Get a good pair of running socks so you don't get blisters.
I love it. And if you need help with any apparel, any equipment,
come see us.
Chris's store is where it's at. It's in Riverton, and they will hook you up. And get you the best resources there, especially if you start training now. And that's what we recommend. We're about 14 weeks out. It'd be about 13 weeks, maybe 12 by the time this launches. So you have about 12 weeks training if you're listening to this. But good to start training in that gear so you know your gear and how it's going to respond, and you're breaking it in and it's not breaking you. So. And
we're going to be relaunching community events. And so on our website, there's a place to kind of sign up to be in the loop, but we're going to be doing runs, every Monday night, super low key. That's like perfect entry thing. If you've never run a 5K and you just want to go out and you don't want to do it alone, come run with us.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do, I don't know, we'll start out with, we can be a group doing a 1.5 or 2 mile loop. And if you've never started, that's a great place to start. You can walk some of it. You can meet a buddy that you can train with.
Where do people find that? Is you have on
our website, there's a community events page.
Awesome.
And then we'll probably post, we'll post about it on Instagram too.
Now, a lot of people, and I will say a lot of people feel intimidated by going into these groups. There's different people training at different levels. And I've never met a really competitive runner that was not very nice to someone that had just started.
Yeah, we just want to see more people.
Freaking cool community.
We just want to see more people get into our sport.
Yeah, like everyone's at a different level, and that's totally fine, and people respect that. So don't feel intimidated. Just communicate in the community that you're new, and you ask for recommendations. People are very helpful in the racing community. Yeah,
and I will say, like, I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. And so I've looked at I've looked at like the 5Ks around here and the average like pace someone finishes at. Mm-hmm. And the average pace someone finishes at is like slower than people who come into our shop and say, I don't consider myself a runner because I don't feel fast enough. And so the perception is so far from the reality. It's like, you shared your stat at, the 17.6 at the start of the podcast. I think only 15 or 20 million people do a 5K in a year, something like that. And there's 330 million people in the US. And so if you're just getting out there, like, you're already in the top percentile. Mm-hmm. And so just start and don't be intimidated. And once you come,
I just ran this stat in chat, and I haven't looked at the source here. I'm sure it's fairly accurate, but 0.8, less than 1% of the U.S. population run a 5K annually.
Yeah. And there's this weird perception that to be a runner, you have to be running like Boston Marathon qualifying times in a marathon.
Man, if you are going to if you're going to run this 5K, you are in the top 1%.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That is just like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So come be a part of that 1%. Come run this race with us. I'm going to be out there running. Chris is going to be out there running. We're not doing all the admin work. We are literally going to be a part of it with you, and we want to make this really fun. Let's talk about tips. I mean, obviously, I work in the PT industry. I want to give a special offer to those that are listening. All you have to do is mention this podcast, but you can come in for a free running assessment with our team, with one of our doctors of physical therapy, 30-minute session where we just look at your running mechanics. We'll look at different muscle groups. If you have an injury, we'll give you a consultation and help get you on the right direction. If you have an injury and you're hurting or things like that, we can get you on track. But I want to give that as a free gift for those that are listening to this and those who are coming to this race. We want you to be successful.
Yeah.
Let's be successful together and make this happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have an injury, come see us. We'll help you with that. But let's talk about the people that just feel, man, I don't know how to bridge the gap to not running to running. What advice do we have for them other than gear?
I would say get out there, commit to don't commit to just one run. Commit to say, I'm going to do, over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to get out there and run, 4 times or 5 times. And it's okay if I walk in the middle, but just commit to getting out there multiple times, commit to a distance and say, I'm going to finish that distance. And don't make it too ambitious. But don't make it just one run, because then you're going to get to the end of it and feel like, oh, I did it. And you want to have something to keep you going for the next time. And I think it's always better to, unless you're like really in pain, just try to complete a workout. You don't have to go as fast as you thought you were going to go. You can slow down. You can walk a little bit. But I would say when you're starting out, have like a series that you want to get through, not just one time. And then I think stretching is like super important. It's one of the things that time teaches you if you start when you're young. Like when I started as like a 14-year-old kid, I didn't really have to stretch. And it's one of those things that if you've done it long enough, you have to unlearn bad habits, because when you're young, you can kind of get away with anything. And then, months go by, years go by, decades go by, and you need to be doing more when you're not exercising to take care of your body so that you're strong when you do exercise. And I think just staying, making sure you incorporate time to stretch before and after really helps with injury prevention. And so if you're going for a run and saying, I'm going to go out and run 2 miles in 25 minutes, don't think about your workout as being 25 minutes. Think about it being more like 45, where you take 10 minutes to stretch before and 10 minutes to stretch after. Yeah. And if you just start your running journey doing that, you don't have to unlearn all the bad habits that I did.
Yeah. And I want to add a few clinical pieces to this, because Chris is really speaking a lot of truth here, is as we age, our bodies adapt to the demand we place upon them. And we're not as agile and bouncing off walls as we get older as we were when we were younger.
Yeah.
And our bodies get a little bit more rigid and aren't as elastic as they used to be. And it's really important, based on what the research says, but based on what we do clinically. We used to have this model of what we call static stretching before a workout or before an athletic event, right? So say a football team, I remember in high school, we'd line up and do static stretching. Static just means you put your leg out in front of you, you go to reach your toes, and you hold for 30 seconds. If you look at every professional sports team, they no longer do static stretching. They only do dynamic stretching. Essentially, it's a slower version of what you're about to do, right? So instead of just go over the wall and stretching your hamstrings or stretching your toes and just holding it for 30 seconds, we're inviting people to do squats or lunges to essentially get blood flow to that tissue. The reason that happened, that change in these professional sports, is because we found that static stretching actually increased injury rates.
Okay.
Because it reduced power within the muscles. So I love what Chris is teaching us here. We stretch and stretch dynamically. We get the muscles moving. We get the blood flow to it. So when you're doing those movements, make it dynamic. You know, doing some maybe some you're over on a curb and you're doing calf raises up and down. You're going into the stretch, not holding for 30 seconds, but going into it and then coming out of it. Going into it, coming out of it. Because that way you're getting blood flow to the tissue, but you're elongating the tissue as well. And you're getting actual nutrients to it. So it makes it very elastic so that way you can be powerful in your movements. Because it actually decreases power in your muscle groups if you're just statically stretching. It's a really interesting phenomenon. So yeah, going into squats, getting a full depth squat, coming out of it, and do some power squats, do some lunges.
Single leg squat has been my piriformis has been acting up, and it's a single leg squat that's gotten me back back on the horse.
And then afterwards, loosen it up.
Yep.
That's where your static stretching can come in handy, is afterwards. But yeah, not neglecting those things, because we go do the workout and then we think we're done, but a lot of our body can just you can really benefit from doing those little workouts after.
One other tip I had, this is less about staying healthy, but I know we're all so busy. You got a bunch of kids, I got a bunch of kids. My advice is if you can't make time to go running, if you can't get away from your kids, just bring them with you.
Yeah.
If you got kids
all about that synergy.
If you got kids that are 7 or 8 years old,
spend time with your kids and run.
And you'll get them out there, and you'll be surprised at how fast and how far they can go, and it builds good habits of fitness early, and you might have a buddy for the 5K in October.
What's interesting is this is a really cool stat that I love. The number one predictor of someone exercising in life is if they watch their mom exercise.
Wow.
The number one predictor is if they watch their mom, which is really interesting to me. And it's probably more their main provider, right? The main person that they looked after them versus mom or dad. But ultimately, they had a role model, right? I remember when I was training for this half, I wanted to take my son with me, and he's like, I'm not going to be in the stroller, and I'm not riding a pedal bike. So I'm like, well, get on your Stasics. It's a little motorcycle, and you just ride, and I'll follow you. And that's what we did. And I loved it. It was very synergistic. I got to spend time with him. He got to spend time with me. I got my workout in, and it just works. But yeah, take your kids with you. Make sure it's synergized. I love it.
Yeah.
One other piece I'd add is as you get into running, it's really important that you train your body to adapt. So, for instance, my daughter, I've told this story on the podcast a few times, but she started doing the monkey bars for the first time, and then she did it all summer. And she developed a lot of callus on her hands. And then when school started, one of her friends tried to keep up with her. She did the monkey bars 5 times. One of her friends tried to keep up and do the same thing, and she tore her hands. And the reason I tell this story is because of the ramp-up period in which my daughter worked on the monkey bars. We got to do the same thing with our bodies. If our bodies, we have too much demand and we not enough supply of energy or forces, that's when we develop injury.
Yep.
So doing a 1-minute run or jog and then a 2-minute walk is a really healthy way to ease into this for the first 4 weeks. And you pick a distance that you feel like is doable and just do the 1 minute on, 2 minutes off. And then it's gradually work up to where you're running the whole time. It's a really helpful tip that we use in rehab. But if you need help with that running program, you can reach out directly to us and we can help with it.
Yeah. One other thing I'd add on that is if you are somebody that's really fit and you've done a lot of other sports but never run, a lot of your fitness will translate over, but still take it slow, because running is kind of repeated pounding on specific muscles. And so even if you have a strong aerobic engine, if you haven't worked your running muscles specifically, your aerobic engine is going to be ready to go harder and faster than the muscles that are bearing the load of running. And so you can just ease into it, and it lowers your risk of injury.
Yep. Because your body will adapt to the demand. So is what happens is your tendons, your ligaments, your bones, they get stronger as you run.
Yeah.
The people with the thickest discs in their spine are weightlifters.
Yeah.
You know, the people with the thickest and strongest meniscus are runners. And why is that? It's because they're getting repetitive load. A lot of people think like, oh, pounding the pavement is bad for my joints. That's only true if you progress too quickly.
Yeah.
Or you push beyond your capability, right? And your body hasn't able to supply enough muscle or strength or endurance to be able to support the demand that you're requiring out of it. So the whole idea is to increase your ability to do things as you run longer distances, and your joints actually improve and get stronger as you do that gradually over time. Yeah. Just as if my daughter was on doing monkey bars for a long period of time. So it's pretty cool. Our bodies are machines; they adapt, but we got to do it gradually, not just overnight.
Yeah.
So, any other tips for running? Getting into it?
No, I think that's it. I think you already hit on. Everybody's different. You know, I was going to say bring a friend, but some people like running on their own. Find what works for you, and just stick with it.
Yep. So just in review, October 24th, we are having our 5K race at Bluffdale City Park. There's a veteran memorial there, which we will gather to as well. We're going to have an amazing event with a lot of people there. Our target is 250. I'd be stoked if we get 500. It's going to be high energy. We're going to have a lot of sponsors in the village that can serve your needs. We are so excited for this event to make sure no veteran gets left behind. Is there anything else that we missed that we should highlight? Anything on what we're doing or what people should expect for this race, Chris?
I think we hit a pretty good base.
Okay. Well, if you are following us, please share this with anyone that you know. We really want to make sure as many people know about this as possible, and we really make a big impact. So come join the race. It's going to be a blast. Make sure you run over to Second Wind Running Store, get yourself a new pair of shoes, get yourself some gear, and start training, because it is going to be a race to remember. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it and a good time. And we really want to thank all of our community partners and sponsors. If you have anyone that wants to sponsor, reach out to us. But we're so excited for Second Wind to join us in this venture and partner with us on this race. So thank you for joining us on the show, and be sure to share this with others.